Okay, so once you have your box all the way carved, we're going to cut off the lid. And so we're going to look, you have the two designs at the top. So the top section of this is where we're going to cut. So like somewhere in there. Okay, so I don't want you to cut, it wouldn't make much sense to cut it right in the middle, right? Where your lid is as big as your container. Okay, I have people do that. And then you also have to think that this top section right here is not actually a wall. It's the side of the lid, okay, because it's 1/4 of an inch thick. So I'll have some people who try and cut up into this and they can't get it off, and it's because they're cutting it into that top part, okay? So I would think about where you want to put it, and then I would put it somewhere, if you can, on the line, so it just kind of hides itself, okay? And so what I would do as well is take a pencil and kind of give yourself like a guide on where you are going to cut. If you put just like some little dots, it can get confusing when you have all those lines, and it's not very fun. You can see those, right? Focus. So these little dotted lines, when you cut this off, I've had people who cut all the way around and then they realize when they get back to this side that they're further down than they were. And so their lid isn't level. And so if you can give yourself a guide, so then all you have to do is cut, then that's gonna help, okay? Because you see a line and you're talking to somebody and you get distracted and you go ahead and cut it, okay? And it's not as easy to put it together or back together as it was, just to make sure you don't make the mistake. Okay, we need all eyes up here, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and give you an X-Acto knife for this. This is gonna be sharp, so be careful. You want to cut just straight into this, and you might have to kind of like move this up and down and just follow that line, okay? If you're gonna have a section that's gonna stick, it's gonna be in the corners, okay? Because you think about it, you have a reinforcing coil right here. So the wall is no longer an angle, it's like a curve, okay? So you might have to recut in the corners to get those to come off, okay? So I'm gonna show you one that's already got theirs off. Okay, so this one was cut and you can see where they cut theirs, okay, just underneath that first design. And you don't wanna have anything that is straight, okay? If it's straight across, then the lid won't latch. Okay, because like when I put this up and wiggle this, it stays on, okay? If you were to just cut this straight off, it would just slide right off, okay? The other thing that you've got to make sure that you don't do is you can't have anything with a lid that is, I don't know, I call this a castle line. You can't have anything that is straight up and down, okay? The clay is not going to drag next to itself, okay? The clay is going to be hard and you won't be able to like move the wall, okay? So for somebody like this, maybe they have a lot of, maybe they did a brick design and so they wanted to do something like that. The best thing, in my opinion, is to do something that goes down and over and then back up. Okay, so you still have sections of straight areas, okay, and then you have these that like cut through at a diagonal, okay. The other thing you cannot do is you can't go backwards. Once you cut this, you can't decide to do something like this, okay, because this is going to lock itself on, right? Like this piece of clay is locking this piece, and you won't be able to lift the lid up, okay? So it'd be good if I could look at this before you were gonna cut it, just to make sure we don't have any problems. Once this is cut off, you're gonna need to like clean all of this up. You don't want them to be really sharp and have a big angle. you would want to smooth out that coil if it's here or if it's down like inside the pot, okay? You might have to spray this because it's dry and you can't get that coil to blend. Okay, so if you keep these how they are when you cut them off, most likely they're going to be sharp afterwards, okay? And you could cut yourself, okay? And then last thing that I suggest is some type of marker. There's a line right here, real quick. Oh, and a line on the inside. Okay, so do you see that real quick? There's a line here, line here. So there's a line here, there's a line on the inside. So this helps you put the lid on without having to like try, you know, which way does it actually fit. Okay, so if you have some type of identification on the inside or the ledge of that pot, then that's going to make putting the lid on a lot easier and a lot faster. Okay, questions? After that, I would just really look at everything and make sure that you've cleaned it all up. If you have anything that's got like a crumbly piece that's like stuck inside a carving, the glaze is going to cover that up and it's going to cover your design. Okay, and then lastly, you cannot forget that this project has a lid now. Okay, if you turn this upside down, the lid will fall off. Okay, and I've seen many people, they walk over to the shelf, they think, oh, do I have my name on it? They flip it over and their lid crashes to the floor. Okay, so be careful, remember that there's a lid on it so we don't break anything.